Hello everyone. The topic of today's discussion is malignant melanoma. So when we talk about melanoma, we should know that it do not have any benign counterpart. So we can use term melanoma or malignant melanoma interchangeably. It is a neoplasm of epidermal melanocyte. That means it is a neoplasm of melanocytic origin. When we talk about its clinical behavior, it is biologically disaster. It is unpredictable and it is deadly of all the human cancers. And it is the third most common cancer of skin after basal cell carcinoma and squamous cell carcinoma. However, the cases are only 3%. When we talk about the mortality rate, it has high mortality rate, and out of the skin cancers which lead to death in USA results in 83% of death related to melanoma only. Now, when we talk about melanoma, it is a malignant neoplasm of melanocytic origin. It can arise either from a benign melanocytic lesion, however, it is controversial, or it may arise de novo from the melanocytes. The most important causative factor behind the etiology is the damage from the UV radiations. Now, when we talk about the racial predilection, so cutaneous melanoma is the most rapidly increasing cancer in whites, and there is annual incidence rate between 3 to 7%. So the common precursor lesion of melanoma includes the common acquired nevus, the dysplastic nevus, the congenital nevus, and the cellular blue nevus. Coming on to the etiology, we have environmental factor and the genetic factors. In the environmental factor, the sun exposure, in which the intermittent exposure to high intensity UV rays seems to be more harmful than the continual exposure of low intensity. When we talk about the socioeconomic strata, the individuals with high socioeconomic status will have more chances of melanoma. Those individuals who have fair skin, who have red hairs, who have more freckles, will have increased risk because these phenotypic characteristic increases the risk of melanoma, and individuals with more number of melanocytic nevi will have a strong risk factor to develop melanoma. Now, when we talk about the genetic factors, there can be family history, which can be a predisposing factor, and there can be syndrome associated such as xeroderma pigmentosum, which can be seen in association with melanomas. So when we talk about the familial melanoma, the individuals with family history of melanoma will have more chances, or they have any first degree relative, or those who have chromosomal abnormality. So those individuals will show the chromosomal abnormality such as 9p21. Also, there are certain genes involved. There are genetic mutations such as P16, P19, RB, and RAS gene. Now, there are phases in the growth of melanoma, which can be radial growth, in which there is lateral spreading of the melanocytes, whereas the second is the vertical growth phase, in which the melanocytes grows vertically, either downward into the dermis or it grows outward. So the radial growth phase is the initial phase in which the neoplastic melanocytes are confined to the epithelium only. They may penetrate or invade the basal membrane, but they are destroyed by the host response in the form of inflammatory response. Whereas in the vertical growth phase, the neoplastic cells, the atypical melanocytes, will penetrate into the dermis and they start populating there. Therefore, there will be increased virulence of the atypical melanocytes and there will be decreased host response. Now, when we talk about the types of melanoma, there are superficial spreading, nodular type, lentigo maligna, and acral lentiginous, in which the superficial spreading is the most common type, approximately 65%. It is also known as pre-malignant melanosis because it shows radial growth phase, and it is vegetoid melanoma in situ also. It is usually tan to brown white in appearance, and it does not show any kind of eruptions. The second type is the nodular type, which is approximately 13%. This doesn't show any radial growth phase, it solely grow in vertical growth phase, and it shows a gender predilection. It is more common in males. And when we see the clinical presentation, it is in the form of a nodular eruption seen on the surface of the skin. The third type is the lentigo maligna type, which is also known as Hutchinson freckle, which is approximately 10%, and it exists in radial growth phase, and this type is common in females. The fourth type is the acrolentigenous type, which is approximately 10%. It is extremely aggressive because it shows rapid progression from radial to vertical growth phase, and it is seen in the palms and the soles. One more uncommon type is the mucosal type of melanoma, which is approximately 3%. The sites involved are conjunctiva, oral cavity, esophagus, sometimes genitals. It is commonly diagnosed in advanced stages and it shows aggressive course because it is diagnosed at a later stage. Now, when we see the clinical presentation of melanoma, we should follow the ABCD rule to rule out it from the mole or nevi. A stands for asymmetry, in which we have to see the symmetric halves because melanoma will show uncontrolled growth pattern. B is the border. Anything which is benign will be well circumscribed. It has regular borders, whereas if it is melanoma, it will show irregular borders with blurred, notched and ragged edges. When we see the color of benign pathologies, it is usually uniformly pigmented, whereas in cases of melanoma, it shows irregular pigmentation ranging from brown to black to blue. When we see the diameter, benign lesions are smaller in size. And if the lesion is greater than 6 mm in size, then we should keep in mind that it can be malignant melanoma. When we see the elevation, raised surface or the rolled out margin is a sign of malignancy. So we should rule out for melanoma. So we should follow the ABCD rule to clinically compare mole nevi from melanoma. Now, when we see the oral manifestation, although melanoma is an uncommon neoplasm of oral cavity, but it can be seen rarely. And when we see the gender predilection, it is more common in males with a ratio of 2:1. The approximate age is 55 years with a broad age range of 40 to 70 years. The site predilection is usually for palate. However, maxillary gingiva and alveolar ridge can also be there. Some cases have been reported in mandibular gingiva as well. When we see the clinical presentation, it is usually deeply pigmented area. In later stages, it may become ulcerated and hemorrhagic. There are cases of oral melanomas in which there is no pigmentation or they resemble white or mucosa colored. Such cases are known as amelanotic melanoma and they account for 5 to 35% of total cases. When we see melanomas clinically, we should rule out certain differentials such as seborrheic keratosis, which is symmetric, multiple, and will give stuck-on appearance. Also, there can be traumatized nevus. Traumatized nevus can mimic to that of malignant melanoma, but this nevus is benign, so it will return back to its normal appearance after healing of 7 to 14 days. Also, there is one more differential, that is pigmented basal cell carcinoma, which gives waxy appearance, but there is presence of telangiectasia, which is not seen in melanoma. The fourth differential is the lentigo, which is symmetric. However, in cases of melanoma, it is asymmetric. The fifth differential is the blue nevus. The blue nevus shows dark pigmentation in comparison to the dermal melanocyte, so we can differentiate it from melanoma. Then the traumatic hematoma. The traumatic hematoma may mimic melanoma clinically, but again, it will resolve after 7 to 14 days of time. Then the hemangioma, which is a vascular malformation, it can also mimic to that of melanoma, but it is compressible. However, melanoma is not compressible. Now there have been some system or the classification have been given so as to categorize the level of tumor invasion and the survival rate based upon that. So first system was given by Clark. The Clark system has 5 levels in which the first level is confined to the epithelium only and it has a high survival rate of 98 to 100%. Then the second level in which the atypical melanocytes, the tumor cells start invading into the superficial lamina propria or into the papillary dermis, in which the survival rate falls from 96 to 72%. In the stage 3, the tumor cells, that is the melanocyte, will start impinging into the reticular lamina propria, in which the survival rate will again fall from 90 to 46%. The stage 4, that is the advancing, in which the tumor cells will be seen between the collagen bundles of the reticular lamina propria, and the survival rate will be from 67 to 31%. And in the last stage, that is the 5th stage, in which the atypical melanocytes, the nest and the individual cell will invade into the subcutaneous fat with a fall in the survival rate from 48 to 12%. So this was the system given by Clark. Breslow gave another system for classification of melanoma based on the tumor thickness, measuring the thickness of the tumor from the surface till the depth where the melanocytes can be appreciated in the dermis. So based on that, he has given this survival rate. So the first level was from 0 to 0.76 76 mm, in which the survival rate was high, 90 to 99%. As the thickness is increasing, the survival rate is decreasing. Coming on to the histopathology, when we see melanoma, there are classical nests and clusters of atypical melanocytes which are arranged in organoid or pagetoid manner. And these atypical melanocytes will have abundant cytoplasm. They have large nuclei. Sometimes they may become spindle shaped or necrotized. They may also show aggressive behavior when they are spindled. Some other types will include plasmacytoid type, epithelioid types. Occasionally, clear cell changes can also be appreciated. So when we see the histopathology, we can appreciate the atypical melanocytes in the form of epithelioid cell with large prominent nuclei and prominent nucleoli. Also, we can appreciate the nests of cells arranged in a pagetoid manner. Now we have different clinical types based on which we have different histopathological presentation. The first is the superficial spreading type, in which the growth is the radial growth, which is characterized by the lateral spreading in the form of confinement to the epithelium only. So we will have intraepithelial component. Also, there will be presence of large epithelioid melanocytes, which will show atypical melanocyte with abundant cytoplasm and prominent nuclei, which are arranged in a pagetoid manner. And this pagetoid arrangement of atypical melanocytes is characterized by a term buckshot scatter, which is a very frequently asked question in MCQs. The second type is the nodular melanoma, in which there is characteristic vertical growth phase. It is an aggressive type in which the tumor cells are characterized by presence of nodular mass, in which the tumor cells are seen invading into the deeper dermis, and there is proliferation of malignant melanocytes into the underlying stroma. So this is an aggressive form which shows nodular proliferation of the melanocytes. The third type is the acral lentiginous melanoma type, which shows radial growth phase, in which numerous atypical melanocytes can be appreciated in the basal layer, and these tumor cells will see invading into the superficial lamina propria. The fourth type is the lentigo maligna type, in which a lentiginous radial growth can be appreciated in the superficial lamina propria, in which the melanocytes are epithelioid type, whereas a deep vertical growth phase can also be appreciated with predominance of spindle-shaped cells. And because there is vertical growth phase, so an intense host cell response in the form of inflammatory reaction can also be appreciated. When we talk about the immunohistochemical markers, we have S100, which is highly sensitive for melanoma, and we have HMB45, which is highly specific for melanoma. When we talk about the treatment, the line of treatment is surgical excision, although lymph node dissection is done if lymph nodes are involved, but prophylactic lymph node dissection is controversial. When we talk about the melanoma of skin or face, they have a better prognosis. And in cases of oral melanoma, although surgical excision is done, but if jaw and lymph nodes are involved, then there should be neck dissection along with the jaw resection. To summarize, the malignant melanoma is a malignant neoplasm of melanocytic origin. It is the third most common cancer of skin after basal cell carcinoma and squamous cell carcinoma. The etiology involves the environmental factors such as sunlight, freckles, multiple melanocytic nevi. Genetic factors involve familial history and syndromes. When we talk about the types, we have superficial spreading melanoma, nodular melanoma, lentigo maligna melanoma, acral lentiginous melanoma. To follow the clinical guidelines, we should follow the ABCD rule, where A stands for asymmetry, B for border, C for color, D for diameter, E for evolving or eruption. The histopathology will include the atypical epithelioid melanocyte, the arrangement of these melanocytes in pagetoid manner, and in the deeper stroma, arrangement of spindle cells or necrotized cells of melanocytes, which can grow either in a radial growth phase or vertical growth phase. The radial growth phase can be appreciated solely in superficial spreading type and in acral and lentigo type, whereas vertical growth phase is solely seen in nodular phase, whereas the acral and lentigo will show both radial as well as vertical growth phases. When we talk about the IHC markers, we have S100 and HMB45. HMB45 is a specific marker for malignant melanoma, and the line of treatment is surgical excision. Chemotherapy can be used as an adjunct, and lymph node dissection is done whenever lymph nodes are found to be involved. Thank you.